So, for my portion of this presentation, I've been tasked with presenting a biography, the background of these animal shelters, and I think also kind of bringing up what the problem is. And I think the first question that needs to be asked is, if we love these animals so much, then why is it that these shelters are as full as they are? These started out as our pets, these baby animals, and at some point in time they just get discarded and they become prisoners. They become prisoners in these shelters and eventually euthanized, which is a drag. When you think about dogs, obviously they're man's best friend, but even deeper than that, dogs contributed so much to us, to our civilization as we know it. I, as we presented in our paper, without dogs, human life may look a lot different than it does right now. They helped us with finding food. They helped us with protecting us against other predators, letting us know when they're approaching, letting us know when rival tribes were showing up. They were essential to our development as a species. Cats is different kind of importance for people. They were literally worshipped by early civilizations, Egyptians, Mesopotamians, etc. Based on, the primal instincts of just being independent and yet dependent at the same time. People love cats, I guess, because they just look like babies also, which I don't quite understand, but that's fine. They're part of us. They're part of our history, and yet in today's time they're just to some extent discarded. So what's the scene inside of these animal shelters these days? Well, as we've presented in our report of the biography of these places, they did start out as dark and scary places for these animals. It was a sad situation where they were just brought in, they were kept for maybe a week, and inevitably they were destroyed. Today it's a little bit different. The animals are given good food, they're treated well. I'm sure they're played with every single day. They're exposed to great medical treatment by great veterinarians because the plan is for them to be adopted or found by their owners. And unfortunately, if neither of those things happen, they are euthanized. And it's sad, but what are the alternatives if you really think about it? And the alternatives are just animals roaming free, and that's something that just it cannot happen. I think the real problem in all of this is the dangers that it presents to humans, civilization at large. The dangers, including health concerns, animals attack, and they are still wild animals. When you think about it, they're prone to being wild. The natural instincts of attacking when the danger presents itself to them. They can still carry rabies. They can die in the streets, and they can spread their diseases that way. And as I said before, they can still attack, and they are fairly dangerous animals. I think though the concern that is most disheartening, I guess, is when you do have these animals roaming free. It's a bad look for our community. You look at these nice, clean, affluent neighborhoods, and that's not a problem that they face. When I think of animals roaming free like that, unfortunately, and with all due respect, I think of a third world country, with no rules, no, I don't want to say no pride, but definitely along those lines. And I think that we as a community do have pride, and we want to show it. And this is one of the many issues that face the community, and they need to take care of it. So. Go.
Okay, so we're just going to be talking about the statistics on animal population, and we have here that approximately 6.5 million companion animals enter shelters every single year. And what we mean by companion is that they're able to be domesticated and be kept in households. So of those, approximately 3.4 million of those are cats and 2.4 million are dogs. So each year, approximately 2.7 animals are euthanized, and 2.7 of those are adopted each year. And you might say, well, that's a balance, right? Well, not really, because of the remaining number of cats and dogs and any other stray animal is still in that shelter, and it overpopulates it. So in August 2018 alone, the OC animal shelters reported that approximately 1,424 animals were taken in, 48% of those being stray dogs. And when it comes to the money spent, $500 to $1,000 are spent just to care for one single animal, which is less than what they make up in adoption fees. And that just comes to tell you that people really don't want to spend and invest that much into an old dog that can't be trained anymore because it's been on the streets too long, which ultimately leads them to them being euthanized, which makes up 1/3 of all that. So in conclusion, the numbers are there, but it hasn't been brought to the attention of other people that how much this has grown into a huge problem, and it's still continuing to grow as the days go on.
Okay, so some of the contributions that add on to the overpopulation of animals is the lack of knowledge that families have. Sometimes families get to try and get puppies just because they're cute, something small. And once they get older and their cuteness expires, they will either tend to not handle the responsibilities of owning a pet, and they will either go and kick them out on the streets or drop them off at an animal shelter. Another contribution is Craigslist and puppy mills. Puppy mills are breeders. Basically, they breed cats and dogs and so on, a specific breed, and they might have good intentions and everything, but what they do is they feed the overpopulation by giving those animals to the families that lack the knowledge. For Craigslist, some people are just trying to get rid of their dogs. They don't really care who they go to and so on. They're just trying to get financial gain. And what they can do, if they can't wait any longer and they simply just want to get rid of them, they can get rid of them in an inhumane way. And just like the people who lack the knowledge, you can just kick them out and simply put them in an animal shelter. For people who have arrogance and decide not neutering the dog because he thinks it's a waste of money or something like that, an example for me is that my brother, he had a male and female pit bull, and we told him that he had to neuter him, but unfortunately he lacked the knowledge and he decided to just keep him anyway. He had a litter of 6 puppies, and he eventually had to get rid of them because he couldn't support them. We found homes for those 6 puppies, but unfortunately we also contributed to the overpopulation, and my brother had to put his male and female dog into the shelter, which also supported the overcrowdedness in the animal shelters. So some examples are for example, like kittens and cats. People normally tend to leave their cats roaming out in the streets. Sometimes they're not home cats, and what they do is some cats tend to go and get pregnant, or they impregnate other cats. This would leave the homeless cats full of litters, and as you can see here, you can see the fact that an animal shelter has caught a whole litter of kittens before, right? So this could keep going on cycle and cycle. If they don't catch the litters, even the litters can reproduce and so on as they get older. This would leave overpopulation in the streets and overcrowdedness in the shelters. For dogs, older dogs tend to get caught because they're easier to catch, but since they're caught, nobody wants an old dog, they mostly want a new dog. So it would be overcrowdedness in the shelters, and no one would really adopt them. For the smaller dogs that are kicked out, they're easier to get through holes and avoid being captured. So the way that contributes is the fact that these animals can reproduce with other stray dogs, and once they have those puppies, they can lead to a cycle once again, which would make those puppies grow up, get older, and reproduce with other stray dogs and keep it going and so on. So the overpopulation of puppies and kittens, as you can see, is very bad, because reason being these puppies or kittens tend to wander off from their litters, and they might end up being roadkills. And even though some people are nice and they try to avoid the puppies and kittens, that could actually lead into accidents. and that is not good at all.
So for the next section, we're going to be talking about the solutions within how we can solve this problem of overpopulating pets within our community. The first one that I want to talk about is spraying and neutering. Spraying and neutering is a good idea for the concepts of animals' health for future preferences, to a point where these animals can, if they get sprayed or neutered, they're more likely to conceive diseases such as female dogs and cats are more likely not to get health problems, including manural cancer, as well as promitral, which is another disease, as well as male dogs and cats. They're more likely not to get engorged prostate glands, and also testicle cancer as well. So it benefits them to a point where they can not overpopulate, as well as caring about their health for future references. So your pet can live longer and a happy life. So I think a best time that I got from the OC shelter was that with a 6 to 9 month old range. So they haven't matured yet, because after 9 months, that's when a female dog or a cat or they mature. So that helps them. That really helps them a lot, and it doesn't hurt them as much before that surgery or spraying them. So the next section we're going to be talking about is building another animal shelter. Yes, I understand that they do cost a lot of money, but it will benefit these animals to a point where it can help decrease the outcome of euthanasia. With the concepts of shelters overpopulating with pets, it decreases that outcome if we have another shelter. Like a lot of shelters don't allow taking in pets because there's just an overpopulated pets in the shelters and no one's adopting them. So if we have another shelter, we will decrease the outcome of euthanasia, as well as gain people to acknowledge the information of pets in the shelters as well, because shelters do provide medication as well as spraying and neutering. So it's better for people to get pets from the shelter to a point where they can not spend as much and they can understand more about their pet. So that's a good thing. And the way that we can gain money to create this new beautiful shelter is we can ask for donations, get volunteers to ask for donations, and ask them if they can donate. So with those volunteers, they'll help us a lot, as well as promoting them on television as well as websites. So using an ad that can show viewers that this is a serious problem and we need this money to build a new shelter. So the next one is adoption. So like I said, with shelters, it does benefit many pets. It benefits the pets that have been abused, that have been on the streets for a while, to a point where it can help them get new homes and be with a lovable family that knows knowledge and understanding about their needs. So with that, adoption is better because when a pet is abandoned and animal control takes them in and takes them to a shelter, they're automatically medicated. So they give them the medication that they need for whatever they have, as well as they're more likely to get neutered and sprayed due to the overpopulating. So that it's a better outcome than just going to Craigslist or going to puppy mills, because you're giving them money, but there's a dog in a shelter that really needs your help. And they're more lovable. Like, pets that are in shelters need love, and a family that really loves pets, that's a good outcome. Another thing, and that's pretty much it on adoption. So the next one is, as this one's targeting pet owners. So to be a better pet owner, so we need to be responsible enough to take care of them, to understand them, to give them what they need in order to have a successful life. So I think that without this care and understanding and stuff, that's why a lot of pets are abandoned and That's why that's why they're in shelters or they're strays, because people don't understand about um, their own pet. So a good thing is to be a better pet owner and to acknowledge everything about their pet and strive to keep them as healthy as possible and to live a long, healthy life. And that is it for solutions.
In conclusion, the animal population is a big problem in our community, and that is why we chose this topic as our research topic, because we want to inform our community about the situation and try to acknowledge the problem. Animals should not have their lives taken just because we don't want to pay for their medical bills, making room for overpopulated shelters, or just because they are cute. We want people to know the importance of keeping control of the animal population, so that every animal has a chance to find a loving and caring home. Thanks for listening.